We've fought giant Magikarps, amalgams of all the fossils and a big burly Grimmsnarl to name a few, but our next and final Beast Titan battle is the most spectacular and dangerous. But to get the location of our next battle, we need a new form of the Roto Mech to get there. To recap on our Roto Mech, it's our form of transportation for this game. Unlike Ride Pokemon, the Roto Mech takes various vehicle forms from big mechs capable of double jumping, to wall-riding motorbikes, to submarines capable of reaching the depths. But we must go to the sky! When I was imagining this form in my head, I kind of wanted it to look very generic aeroplane. Things like UFOs or stealth bombers would have been cool, but in terms of shape design, you can't beat the classic aeroplane silhouette. I wanted to adapt the main form of Roto Mech to an airplane silhouette as if it transforms instead of full shape shifts. Things like the large fingies get morphed into this almost rubber-like turbine blades that I think would look really fun and goofy just spinning around. The cockpit gets more of a daredevil flyboy look by the end. All the Roto Mech forms have the fighting type as their shared type. I thought it'd be fun that this is more of a wild combat-oriented Rotom because it's in these pseudo-robot forms, so this form very obviously is fighting and flying type. A good underutilized combo. Man, it'd be so funny seeing these in battle, although you'd only be able to get these forms in actual combat post-game. Probably found inside some kind of Hibiscus Labs warehouse. I do end up reworking it a little bit, changing the face and just reconnecting it back to my newer art style, as the original was done quite a while ago along with some of the other designs in this video. Roto Mech Sky Build, a fighting and flying type, Hibiscus Labs' greatest invention. This form of Roto Mech is a prototype form, created to assist the trainer in defending against the last of the Beast Titans. This form is capable of flying while carrying the trainer within the cockpit, allowing discoveries far above in the clouds and mountain peaks of Stara. The sonic bombs it fired out in the regular Roto Mech build have been upgraded to far-reaching lock-on sonic missiles, allowing the trainer to easily stun Pokemon for capture, or whittle down the titanic strength of the Beast Titans. This form of Roto Mech also seems to be able to handle the chaotic nature of the Ultra Convergence, if only there was a way to get there. This form of Roto Mech has the ability Gale Wings. So now that we can take to the skies and get anywhere, even find some Pokemon flying in the air, we can finally land on the giant ship, the Spirit of Stara. And I'm sure you're wondering why can't we just use the Roto Boat to get there? Well, the Spirit of Stara is in high alert and won't allow anyone on, so you would have to drop in from above. The Spirit of Stara is a reference to a sort of popular cruise ship called the Spirit Tasmania. It isn't like a whole town like the Spirit of Stara, but you know, it's Pokemon, I ain't gonna explain everything. So inside of the town, you'd meet our captain, Miss Louise, who also has a spot on our Elite Four. And she's in a spot of trouble as the Spirit of Stara has been assaulted on all fronts, not just the sky. So as we prepare for battle rising from the ocean and dropping from the sky, it's not just one, but 3 Beast Titans to throw down with. Each of the gyms, Titans, Farm Badges and Elite Four all come together to cover all the types, much like in Scarlet and Violet with each of the different paths. Without the Elite Four, the only one left was Flying type. Originally this was going to be Hatteran in this big old freaky looking angel form, but I didn't like it much. It didn't really feel connected. The only reason it was there was for Grimmsnarl, but I thought for a final Beast Titan fight for the main story, we need something kind of big, and barring legendaries, I had to pick something close to home. Like our starters, Terrorwari, Imparu and Rebron. Let's start with Beast Paradox Terrorwari. So because Terrorwari is a combo of a Cassowary and Terror Bird, I wanted to play up that this thing in its beast form is something different. It no longer needed silly things like legs and took to the sky. This form of Terrorwari was based off the Microraptor, but this thing is anything but micro, being this massive intimidating force with frost energy blasting off its wings and tail. It's kind of funny that Terrorwari already looked angry and aggressive, so leading further into it gives us this real massive monster. If you've been a part of this channel for a while, you'll know I can't shut the heck up about doing ice textures in Pokemon designs. Seriously, it always feels so dang good to do. Part of it could be the fact that I'm actually painting it in, but it always just looks nice. Being an ice and flying type certainly means it has its weaknesses, but if Articuno has taught us anything lately, it's that these mean nothing if you have sheer cold, and I think that's a perfect addition for this big scary birdie. Beast Paradox Terrorwari, the quad-wing Pokemon, an ice and flying type. One of the 3 beast titans that attack the Spirit of Stara, and the Beast Paradox form of the starter Terrorwari. While this form retains much of the ferocious energy of Terrorwari, it seems that its predatory instincts are greatly enhanced. It will dive bomb massive Pokemon and sink its talons into a foe, freezing them, then carrying it back to the nest. Their plumage is frosty to the touch, but getting close enough to feel that is difficult, not to mention it is constantly aloft. 5-star threat. Terrorwari in this form has a new ability called Frozen Domain. As this Pokemon enters the battlefield, it freezes the area, lowering the speed of all non-ice type Pokemon and setting snow. So next let's go to Imparu, our own Kung Fu Panda, but in this form it changes drastically as well. This one is a little bit of me just wanting to add something into a star of my own likes. The bit of Red Panda, a bit of Fu Lion statue, and a little bit of Oni, all mixing together to create this giant amalgamation. My idea was this large imposing statue-like Pokemon, losing much of the sort of human-like aspects of Imparu and turning it into a true beast. In-game I can imagine this form moving really slowly, like concrete dragging.mp4 amounts of moving, and mainly would use big slams of its arms and body to crush its foes. Very much Weeping Angel energy for the most part, although that flowing mane would still move during animations. Rock Dark type for this one, although Dark type could work for all 3 beast starters. This one just seems fitting to have Dark type with its ability to just flatten people when their backs are turned. Beast Paradox Imparu, the Stone Lord Pokemon, a Rock and Dark type. One of the 3 beast titans that attack the Spirit of Stara and the Beast Paradox form of the starter Imparu. It is a large stoic Pokemon that rarely moves. If it does move, it will trudge around slowly with incredibly heavy footfalls. The shockwaves created when it moves about can damage anything in its wake. It enrages at the slightest provocation and cannot be trusted. It will pretend to be a statue only to crush the unknowing enemy when their back's turned. 5-star threat. In this form, Imparu has the ability Strength of Stone. Where missing attacks or if this Pokemon doesn't move in a turn, it gains a boost to defense. The final of the beast trio is Rebron, and I got a lot of inspiration from Smiley the Axolotl from One Piece for this one. I wanted Rebron to essentially become, instead of a rubbery water baby, to this massive poisonous blob monster that is just constantly leaking toxic sludge wherever it goes. Ugh. This one probably keeps some most similarities to their normal forms, as if the silhouette would seem the same at first glance, save for the glowing core blinking within its chest. Another underutilized typing combo in Poison and Dragon here. With its typing and stats, this Pokemon would make a really damn good stall Pokemon for competitive. But we have ways around Beast Paradox Pokemon coming later on, so you can't always rely on them. The main difficulty was colors, being this massive poisonous blob. I knew I'd probably need to have it be some kind of single color or gradient. So I decided to sort of have it start at the poisonous purple and lead down into that very dragon type bluish purple, which helps keep it visually interesting. Beast Paradox Rebron, the toxic monster Pokemon, a poison and dragon type. One of the 3 beast titans that attack the Spirit of Stara and the Beast Paradox form of the starter Rebron. The entire mass of Rebron in this form is of an extremely toxic sludge. It is always aggressive and dripping the sludge all over. The core within the mass is Rebron's main body and controls the mass. It can dilute its mass with water to grow larger, becoming an extreme hazard to the waterways of anywhere it emerges from, a highly dangerous 5-star threat. In this form, Rebron has the ability Sludge Power, where this Pokemon does increased damage with their Poison-type moves, but the user takes a small amount of damage if the attack lands, essentially a Life Orb type deal. So the actual battle would be something a bit different, as you'd be introduced to each of the beasts one after the other. Starting with Imparu, who'd land on the ship's deck, you'd be able to freely fly around the battle firing sonic bombs at it, with really not too much resistance as sort of a tutorial or test. Once the health is low enough, you'd then do an almost Cuphead-like side-scroll or plane shooter against Beast Paradox Rebron. A bullet hell sort of situation as it flings globs of poison at you, as well as beams of draconic energy. all about testing your ace pilot skills. Then after a bit of damage, you'd switch to a sort of Star Fox, or if you've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth like me, the space shooting minigame. In it, where you'd be facing forward, dodging and firing back at Terrorwari, who would summon icy particles to hit you, and call ice pillars from the water for you to avoid. Once you've lowered Terrorwari's health enough, you'd then switch back to your sumo build form, and you would throw down against Imparu on the deck again, as you punch out and shove it further and further back on the deck. All the while, it unleashes shockwaves and slams you, and you'd have to defend against it. Once at the edge of the boat, you'd initiate a Pokemon battle against it to give it the final shove. As it falls, a special Pokeball would fly in and capture it. Rebron rises from the water in this massive form, and this time you jump on your boat and sub as you kind of start moving between various icy pillars the Terrorwari summoned to stealth to the back of Rebron without detection to initiate a regular Pokemon battle. Defeating this menace, it gets captured before slurping back into the water. Finally, an enraged Terrorwari appears again, and you'd have to fly into the air to take it down. A mix between the Cuphead side-scrolls and Star Fox battles would happen as the main show begins. It would be a long battle, and once you take its health down, you'd have one final aerial battle as your Pokemon kind of stands upon the Roto plane to take down this mighty menace. Upon giving this feathered foe a final flourish, it gets captured once more with its special Pokeball, and it's done. The final of the Beast Titans plaguing Stara have been trounced. But there's one last thing I want to talk about in this video. If you watched the Psychic Pokemon video where we met Psypip, my mascot, and the first to gain a new form called a Beast Burst form, a special form capable of taking on Ultra Beast and Beast Paradox Pokemon. And I thought, what if during the final Titan battles, if you brought your starter, you'd get a special cutscene where your starter would Beast Burst. Of course, you'd gain their Beast Burst item after the battle anyway, but it'd be cool if you kept your starter with you, as it would help take down the respective Beast Paradox forms too. Let's start with Beast Burst Terrorwari. This form I needed to make a counter to an Ice and Flying type. This means that Fighting type was a no-go, actually quite a few times throughout, so I thought the best way to cover this was to instead go towards pure Electric type. I also wanted to play up the speedy sort of aspect of Terrorwari, so I went towards the Roadrunner. I like the idea of Beast Paradox Pokemon not having to be really Australian in origin, and Beast Burst forms being even more, I guess, alien. And with Australia only having kind of a partial Roadrunner, I felt this was perfect. But also we added a little bit more of an ancient kind of build to it, not having wings like the normal form, but giving it some sharp clawsies. Sharp edges all around here, as I wanted to show that Electric type as well as that sort of physically oriented nature that this form has. My biggest problem was the tail. I wanted to have this long flowing shocky tail that would sort of make this cool looking Regieleki style sort of electricity. But when I first did it, it kind of looked like a cloud of tooth gaps. I ended up adding in some yellow parts to the gaps, which really helped make it look a lot less like its speed was powered by farts. Terrorwari Beast Burst form, the Terror Bird Pokemon Electric type. Terrorwari unleashes their anti-Ultra Beast potential through their Beast Burst ability to protect their trainer. Their speed is unmatched and moves like a bolt of lightning. As it moves, it goes faster and faster, soon becoming a streak of light to anyone watching. Electricity streaks from their tail feathers when fully charged, and by spinning around and flourishing that energy, it blasts out in a fan towards their prey. It seems to have no ill will towards us, so no threat level. This form of Terrorwari has the ability Speed Boost. Remember how I called Imparu our Kung Fu Panda? Well, this time it's actually true. For this form, I wanted to give it a bit of more of an aggressive build. Its hands become these massive paws which almost call back to like cartoonishly large punching gloves. And this is a really weird connection, but I gave its bottom legs this almost flared look for this weird sort of disco 70s style. I bet that doesn't really make sense, but I just love the idea of this almost dancing Kung Fu Master panda thing. I made it very top heavy for the most part, which works well for that sort of thick, strong build for it. Imparu continued the trend of having fire on a certain part of its body, and in this case, it's the eyebrows with flickering flames upon it. In the Beast Burst form, it instead just becomes these comically big black eyebrows. Gotta rep our big browed Prime Minister of the past, John Howard. Oh, look at them, like caterpillars. Ugh. For this Beast Burst form, I chose pure Fighting type. Would do great against Rock and Dark type. You still would have to chip away at that giant chonker of a Beast Paradox form though. Imparu Beast Burst form, the Emperor Pokemon, a Fighting type. Imparu unleashes their anti-Ultra Beast potential through their Beast Burst ability to protect their trainer. They have lost all flame power in their bodies, but have tons of muscle to instead back it up. Massive paws dent metal and destroy stone easily. It is quite disciplined in battle and will listen intently to the trainer's every word. The trust and bond between them and trainer is unbreakable. This Pokemon is no threat to people, no star threat. Imparu's ability in this form is Sheer Force. And last but not least, Rebron. For this one, I wanted to make the typing very anti-poison typing. Fairy wouldn't work here as the poison typing stands in front of the dragon type. However, I chose Grounded Psychic here as it provides good coverage against the poison without dragon really standing in the way. For this form, I decided to go towards a Sea Angel looking Pokemon. Kind of if Rebron was in a Sea Angel form, as well as I wanted to play up a sort of queenly look for it here, as Rebron originally harkens to king imagery. This one has a third eye for all that psychic energy, as well as streamers of controlled ground or sand falling around it to sort of emulate a fanciful offshoot of a dress. This form is a bit of a similarity to the Beast Paradox form as well, however, as this Beast Burst form would be partially transparent with a glowing orange core, but this one it would be significantly more goopier. I guess I really just like playing up the line's rubbery, goopy nature. Rebron, Beast Burst form, a grounded psychic type, the Nudibranch Pokemon. Rebron unleashes their anti-Ultra Beast potential through their Beast Burst ability to protect their trainer. Their body contains a glowing core of energy that allows it to control pockets of sand within its body. These sand streams can be used like whips to pelt enemies. It has an incredibly caring personality and can feel the emotions of any surrounding it, and will sense ill intent to which it will have no mercy towards. Friendly and non-aggressive to most, no star threat. In this form, Rebron has the ability Sandstream. So to cap this off, when these Pokemon are in their Beast Burst form, each of the form's signature moves, Stealth Strike, Fireworks Fist, and Aqua Regalia, will change typing. Grass to Electric, Fire to Fighting, and Water to Ground, allowing you to really style on the Beast Titan standing in your way. With a Stara saved of the Titan menace, things have significantly calmed down around here, and you have a good chance now to go back and battle the Elite Four. This Elite Four has something special about them though. Then after all that, we can meet our champion in the Legends of Stara. But for now, that's the video. What did you think? Comment your thoughts down below, and if either the Beast Paradox or Beast Burst forms will be your mainstay for your starter. As well as like and subscribe to support the channel and never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.